Hey yo, welcome back to the Slowpoke World. We've got more Vivid Voltage deck profiles for you, and today I've got Sableye Orbeetle. Orbeetle VMAX is one of those cards where I think as a community we can all agree it's a pretty damn good card, but I don't think it's good enough to be its own attacker in its own deck. However, Sableye is an extremely good attacker that doesn't take no that doesn't mess about. So yeah, let's have a look at Orbeetle Sableye. Right, so let's have a look at Sableye in case you don't know what this young gentleman does already. Let's have a look. Hey, so Sableye is a basic Pokemon from the Sword and Shield set. Basic Pokemon, 170 HP with 2 attacks. You got Load Search for 1 Dark, which is put a trainer card from your discard pile into your hand. That's pretty good. Let you get back bosses, let you get back, you know, any Ball Search, maybe anything like this. Stadium, I'm not sure. Like I always say, 1 energy attacks are never a bad thing to have, so I welcome that in a deck. And then we got Load Search, then we got Crazy Claws, I should say. That's our build around. For 2 straight Darks, you do Crazy Claws, 10 plus 60 for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. So, if they have 3 damage counters on, you do 180 plus the 10, so 190, then plus the original 30 that they had as well. So the magic sort of number, if you want to be not OHKO and VMAX, you want to get to like 6, because 6 damage counters is what, 6, 12, 180, 240, yeah, 300. So you get to 6. That's the sort of ideal range. 5 cleans up a lot of stuff as well. So that's our sort of mini game. And you can see with Orbeetle VMAX, in case you don't know what he does already, he is a VMAX Pokemon, 310 HP with the ability Laser Beam. Once during the turn, if this is in the active spot, you can put 1 damage count on all your opponent's active Pokemon. All your opponent's Pokemon. So you can see the synergy now. If we can get as many Orbeetle laser beams off as possible, it plays into our Crazy Claws really nicely. So that's the idea. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool synergy. I might as well have a quick look at the Orbeetle V here as well. Basic Pokemon, 180 HP with 2 attacks. One of them's a 1 energy attack. Very good. Stray for 1 grass. You do 20 damage and you can swap your active. Always nice to have. You never know when that could come up. And then you got Mysterious Wave for 1 grass, 1 colorless. You do 50 plus 30 for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. Not a bad attack. It actually is very similar to the G-Max Wave, which I forgot to mention. The attack on Orbeetle VMAX G-Max Wave for 1 grass, 1 colorless. You do 50 plus 50 for each energy attached to your opponent's active. Now we do play 1 Aurora energy, so we can attack with G-Max Wave. It's an attack that I'm not really impressed with, in all honesty. I mean, it's not bad. When we've got the amount of spread that we have, you can actually use it a lot more than like in a straight Orbeetle VMAX deck, but it's not an attack I like using too much. Funnily enough, we actually end up using this attack much more on this little Pokemon here. Then we got ourselves Rowlet. Basic Pokemon, 50 HP with the ability Sky Circus. If you play Birdkeeper from your hand during this turn, you can ignore all energy in this Pokemon's attack. And then you got Wind Shard, so effectively for no energy, because I haven't actually used it for free attachments yet. So for no energy, Wind Shard, you do 60 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So what I really like about the Rowlet in here, because we already have to pay a super high switching count, so we can try and use, you know, both of these Orbeetles in a single turn, alright? So we already play a natural Birdkeeper count already, so why not throw some Rowlets in? It increases our Pokemon count for Pokemon communication. And what this Wind Shard lets you do is immediately put your opponent's attacker under pressure as early as turn 2, right? So that's going to do 2 things. Number 1, it takes your pressure off finding your Orbeetles really fast. It makes your Sableye an immediate threat, and it makes your opponent have to start playing differently. They might start trying to set up a second attacker before they get going, which is, you know, we're making our opponent play super different. So I'm a big fan of the Rowlet in here. Really good fun. Obviously, we're going to play 2 Alolan Zigzagoon. What would an Alolan Zigzagoon look like? Galarian Zigzagoon, because obviously when you bench him, put 1 damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon. We do play Scoop Up next as well, obviously. So we've got a lot of damage counters to play around with our Zigzagoons. And we play 1 Mr. Mime with the Scoop Up block ability, and full shout out goes to Rare Candy, because he had a Mr. Mime in there. His reasoning was really cool and it makes a lot of sense. So we played the Mr. Mime, so against Eternatus, right, it means they have to be a little bit more careful about if they go mad with their Zigzagoons, because when they put their Zigzagoons down, if you tag them with the laser beam, they can no longer scoop up net them, right? So they're there to stay. And with the amount of spread that we can do, we can start trying to take multiple prize turns on them. It's not actually too hard to do. Equally, if you put down the Mr. Mime nice and early, they might have to start thinking twice about putting down those Zigzagoons, which means they might not be hitting the damage they need to. Anytime we can make our opponent do stuff they don't want to do, it's always advantageous. So the Mr. Mime's really good. And against stuff like Blowns as well, potentially start, you know, cleaning up Rogue Jirachis or Zigzagoons or anything like this. And then we play one Crobat and one Denner just to help us draw through, because Crobat and Denner are really good cards. So yeah, that's all our Pokemon there then. So quite a nice little core there. And what I like about this deck and what I found in games, is really multi-dimensional. You don't really have to rely on the Orbeetle VMAX all the time. Between Rowlet, Quick Rowlet and Sableye, you can get a lot of work done. And then if the game does go super long, your opponent, like let's say you KO their first attack but they've got a second one, then you can start using Orbeetle VMAX and the Zigzagoons to clear that up. Really nice. 4 Professor's Researchers, so we can draw through our decks. The best supporter in the game. I see no reason why you wouldn't want 4 in here. You know, we are a bit of a combo. We have to get energies in the bin for our turbo patch and all that good stuff, and evolve up our Pokemon and find our scoop up nets as well. But here's the star support of the deck. Realistically, Bird Keeper serves a couple functions. Switch your active on your bench Pokemon if you do draw 3 cards. So what you can do, transition out of your Sableye into Orbeetle VMAX, for example. You know, pop your ability, then you can either switch. We do play a skateboard, U-turn board. We can then go into our attacker, or we can go into a second Orbeetle VMAX laser beam, that's 2 damage counters, and then we can switch again into Rowlet, do the wind shard, for example. So Bird Keeper is just helping us play musical chairs. We are a musical chairs like deck, for in all honesty. So Bird Keeper is the engine that lets the deck tick over, and obviously we can end the turn then with a Sableye Crazy Claws. And obviously worth noting, we need to play Bird Keeper to get the wind shard off with Rowlet. We got 3 boss's orders just so we can hit our opponent. Like, let's say we've dinked their attacker and they might try and set up another one. We can just try and interrupt, if you will, get the boss's orders out and say, no, I want to kill that one, please. Thank you very much. And then 2 Turful Stage just to help us find our Orbeetle VMAXs, just so we can take pressure off our communications and stuff like this. 4 Quick Ball, just so we can find all our basic Pokemon. You know, find our Sableye, find our Rowlet, find our Orbeetles, find our Mr. Mime. Basically finds everything apart from the Orbeetle VMAX, to be honest, whilst getting energy in the bin for our turbo patches as well, because obviously Sableye does need 2 attachments. Here's our scoop up nets. So this is going to let us do a few things. It's mostly used so we can reuse our Galarian Zigzagoon, but can also let us, you know, remove Rowlets off the board. Remove Rowlets off the board to stop our opponent taking easy prizes, as it were. You know, late game we can try and have down Sableye and Orbeetle VMAX and say, you know, you got some hard prizes here for sure. Also lets you scoop up net Rowlet once you're done with them to activate your Pokemon communication. For Switch, again, we need to play musical chairs a lot of the time, so Switch is obviously pretty cool for that. You know, letting us maneuver around our Orbeetle VMAX and our Rowlets. Even our Sableye, if they get stranded in the active as well. Lets you move around anything in Switch, doesn't it? So between the Bird Keepers and the Switch, we've got a lot of things we can do. For Turbo Patch, this is just so we can attack with Crazy Claws ideally in a turn, because, you know, 170 HP is chances are we're not taking many hits. We are going to have to try and stream these Sableyes where possible. Turbo Patch helps us do that. I only find you realistically ever need 1 or 2 in a game. We play 4, so hopefully the odds are in your favor there. And there you go, 3 Pokemon communication. Wouldn't mind a 4th, but space. This is just going to help us find, you know, keep us ticking over, find all our pieces, find our VMAXs, or find our Pokemon. And then 2 U-turn board. Now, I've got U-turn board in here just because we have got a lot of 1 retreat cost Pokemon, literally everything down here. Either VMAX has 1 retreat cost. Anything that hasn't is a Sableye, annoyingly. So you could go down to an air balloon if you like. I'm not against that. I do foresee Tool Scrapper being paid a little bit more in the Vivid Voltage meta than I do than we see it here. So that's why I've got the U-turn board. You could also cut 1 U-turn board if you like for an extra slot. And then rounding off the list, we have 9 basic Dark Energy. Now I really want some more, and then 1 Aurora. So we've got 1 Aurora just so we can actually use G-Max Beam or whatever it's called, GMAX Wave, if you ever need to. You could make this a grass if you like. You can make it into another dark. You can put, you know, I did have 2 Aurora in here, but space again. I've rarely find myself use the GMAX Wave. I'm not gonna lie to you, so I don't really like that attack a terrible amount. So yeah, there's the list, guys. Let me know what you think. Is this the best way to play Orbeetle? If it's not, what is? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, if you still if you got to the end of the video and you still not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I put a Vivid Voltage deck almost every day for you until set relaunch, and then we can start playing them on TCG. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.